everyone, this video is sponsored by Skillshare. As a creative who not only makes content for you all, but also as someone that works in creative-based industries, Skillshare has several classes where you can learn new skills that will help me to master my craft in both graphic design and video content. Skillshare is the largest online learning community for creatives, with thousands of classes led by industry experts across film, illustration, design, freelance, productivity, and more. Skillshare can help you take your career, skills, hobbies, passions, or side hustles to the next level. Skillshare has a class on literally any skill that you can think of, from how to create a sales funnel to how to code for beginners. They have classes on how to make a YouTube video, how to edit, literally anything that you can think of, Skillshare has it. For example, for me, I've really been wanting to get into Adobe Creative Suite, and as someone that loves graphic design but kind of wants to get past just using Canva, they have several classes on Adobe Creative Suite that I will be checking out. As you all can see right here, they do have a graphic design masterclass, which is literally right up my alley. This is what I personally am looking to learn, and this masterclass covers Adobe Illustrator, Photoshop, and InDesign, which are all programs that I really want to learn, so I'll definitely be checking out this masterclass. They literally have everything broken down into multiple lessons, and as you can see right here, the class is for beginners. And even though I have a little bit of experience with Photoshop, I don't have any experience with InDesign or Illustrator, so I will be definitely checking out this class. And for someone like me that is looking to build my skill set for the job market and is even looking to potentially switch careers, Skillshare is the perfect platform to learn skills that will help me on my job search. If you all are interested in checking out Skillshare, make sure you guys click the link in my description as well as in my pinned comment, and the first 500 people to click the link in my description will receive a free 1-month trial of Skillshare. So make sure you guys check out the link today so you can take advantage of that 1-month free trial. Now let's hop back into this video.
I can't even begin to explain the palpable relief that I feel from not having to put something on LinkedIn every day, and not having to look at Twitter every day, and not having to look at Instagram every day. My boss is horrible, so she made me post on bank holidays and Saturdays, and when I was on holiday, and when my granddad died. She made me post on all of those days. So I'm telling you, the biggest benefit of leaving your corporate marketing job and hopefully becoming a freelancer or something better is that I don't have to look at those stupid platforms every day. I'm so tired. I'm so tired.
Things I hate about working in marketing. Obviously, I love working in marketing, but there's just a few things that really irritate me. Okay, the first one is when people shove you in a brainstorm meeting and you have no context of what it's about, no time to prep, and you just hit on the spot with, "Oh, have you got any ideas for this?" Actually, Susan, no, I don't. Sit out, I can't know what's going on. I mean, I might just not be a creative person, to be honest, but I just hate being put on the spot. Like, it's too much pressure. Give me a little bit of time, have a little research, you'll think, and leave me alone. Number 2, I've got to say it, but reporting. There is nothing worse than realising you've got a PCA report due end of week and you have done nothing and inputted no data from this campaign. Like, oh, it's horrible. I'm running out of time. But number 3 is just how fast things change. Like, every week there is a new announcement, there's a new update, there's a new trend, like, and you really have to be on top of it. But sometimes, just give a gal a break.
I'm currently waiting to pick someone up from the airport, so I thought I would talk about some things about working in marketing that absolutely give me the ick. The first is always having to convince people the value of what you do. I get it, don't get me wrong. If you're in the finance team, if you're on the sales team, if you're on the development team, if you're in tech, sometimes it's hard to understand the value of organic marketing, but it just gets really, really tiring having to explain to people that SEO is a slow game. Social media is a slow game. The second ick is working with clients that have no idea what they want. It is freaking frustrating having to create something for anyone who doesn't know what they want. I'm all about trying to make the client happy and making sure that they love the final product, but if you don't know what you want, you hired on an expert to do the job, and you should be able to trust their skill and expertise in the area to just create the product that will garner the best results. My third ick is definitely how a lot of companies don't understand that you can't just hire like one star player marketer who's going to handle your ads, who's going to handle your SEO and your social and your blog writing and your website creation and your web design and your A/B testing. Like, all of those things are very unique skill sets that get developed over time and with experience. And you know, if you want to hire someone to do it all, great, but like, pay them a fuck ton of money first of all, and just know that it's not going to give you as quick results and as, like, honestly great results as having experts in each area be able to focus on those tasks. I think a lot of people just hire on marketing managers and then just like expect them to be able to do absolutely everything, but that's just not how it works. And there are specific roles, like bigger companies hire for these very specific roles for a reason. It's because each of them are its own role. Like, you can't just depend on one person to do it all. Blah. I love working in marketing, but there are definitely so many things that really tick me off.
Hey everyone, it's Bree. Welcome back to my channel. I'm back in another video, and I am back with a video that has been sitting on my mind for a while now. I was going back and forth as to whether or not this was actually the decision that I was going to make in terms of my career and everything. You know, I've made many videos on this channel about, you know, my job hunting experience post college and just how horrible it's been, and then also, you know, seeing all of your guys' stories in, you know, the comment section about how a lot of you all have struggled with finding jobs in your career field. And, you know, I've reached a point, right, where, you know, it's been about 2 years since I graduated from college, and, you know, I'm turning 25 soon, and I'm just, you know, reflecting and looking back on my career and my experience in the workforce. And, you know, I've kind of been all over the place with it. Like, I know at some point I was like, you know, I'm just not even gonna bother trying to find a job. But then, you know, the longer I stay at home, the more I'm just like, I don't want to be here much longer. I think it's just something about being 25 and living at home that doesn't sit right with me. And I know that reality is going to come. You know, like, I literally turn 25 next month, and there's like no shot that I'm moving out in the next month. So even just sitting in that and thinking about, you know, what next steps are for me, right? Marketing has not been working out for me at all, for a multitude of reasons that I'll get into in this particular video, because I feel like I've tried to have this conversation, you know, with other people, and I feel like it would probably be best to put all of my thoughts into one video so I can reference this in the future. But essentially, I think that I've made the decision to quit marketing altogether. And again, there's multiple reasons for why I've reached this point. You know, me and several other, you know, marketing majors out there, people who have their marketing degrees, we're all kind of experiencing the same thing right now within the industry. The marketing field in itself, right, is extremely saturated, and I didn't anticipate that it would be this saturated, right? Like, yes, I knew that, you know, people who are in the business field, people who are in marketing, I knew that there was a lot of people in that field, but I didn't anticipate that it was going to become as oversaturated as it currently is. And it's funny, right, because I've also had people say to me, whether it be in my comment section or whether it be when I'm having conversations with other people, you know, saying that, like, yeah, like, I don't know why you chose marketing in the first place because of how saturated it is. And here's the thing, it was not this saturated when I chose to get into this career. And I think a lot of people don't think about those things when they tell people, no matter what the field is, like even tech, like people are now saying that tech is oversaturated, and, you know, why would you pick that field? Here's the thing that I feel like a lot of people are not understanding. No one can predict the future. No one can predict the future. And so the fact that there are so many people out there who genuinely feel like people pick their career field, right? You know, most of us, we pick our major right when we start college. You know, some of us change majors. Like, I've, you know, gone through that where I've changed my major. But I changed my major, you know, early enough in my college journey to where, it didn't hinder, when I graduated and things like that. But the fact that people expect you to predict the future, right? So you go into a major in a field that isn't saturated at the time, and we're supposed to somehow know that 4+ years into the future that this industry is going to be super saturated. And yes, sometimes there are, reports out there that will predict which careers will thrive and which ones won't. But all in all, to expect somebody that chose their field of work several years ago to know that, 4 or 5 years in the future that it's going to be super saturated, I think it's just so unrealistic. So that's why I also hate too when people are like, oh, well, yeah, like that was dumb to pick marketing as your major because it's so saturated. It's saturated now. It wasn't saturated when I chose it. But I know I'm going to have people in the comments saying that it was, and whatever. You can believe what you want to believe. But yeah, so the marketing industry has changed a lot, especially with the pandemic. And again, I've spoken about this with other people in my field where it feels like there was this huge spark in social media managers, especially around that COVID era, like 2020, 2021. It feels like there was a huge spike in people wanting to be social media managers. And a lot of these people did not even have degrees. They didn't have marketing degrees. They didn't have business degrees. Some of them did, but you saw this increase of, people who were like, hey, how to become a social media manager with no degree, no experience. And so it almost became this thing where people felt like anyone can do it, right? Anyone can do social media. Anyone can, be a social media manager. And it was to the point where, people were giving their social media accounts to like their little cousin or, the office assistant, like anybody that could just throw something up there and just see what happens. Like,
I'll probably make this into a whole series, but here's shit that drives me absolutely insane as a corporate social media manager. The fact that people think that you can throw literally anything and everything on social media, like there's no thought process or strategy behind it. Keep in mind, I work for a multi-million-dollar company, so we're not just like a small brand or anything. I have people from other departments or even other parts of marketing that are like, hey, can you like just post this photo on Instagram? And it literally has nothing to do with like the brand or the products. I'll then ask them what the purpose of like the content is, like what do they think our audience is going to get out of this post? Spoiler alert, they never have an answer. And I think what really ticks me off is that they do not ask any other marketing channel to post what they're asking for. And if you know you're not going to ask the other marketing channels because it does not make any sense to post like paid media or email marketing, why ask social? I can talk about this forever, but I will spare you guys.
And a lot of people don't understand that when it comes to social media or when being a social media manager, there's a lot of strategy behind it, right? There's a lot of analyzing that goes into, what you post and when you post and how the post should look. There's actually a lot of strategy and planning that goes behind that. But you find now that a lot of people are not willing to invest in somebody that actually properly knows how to run social media. And, there's also that misconception as well that social media is directly tied to selling something, right? And although, yes, social media is a really great platform to showcase your products, your services, and whatever the case may be, the whole point of social media is brand awareness. But you find that a lot of companies, right, are hiring these social media managers with the expectation that they're going to get them X amount of sales. And that's just not how that works. It is very similar to influencing as well. You have a lot of companies who want to work with influencers and they think, oh, because this influencer has 1 million followers, they should be able to generate X amount of sales. That's not how that works. Yes, obviously that's what you hope for. Yes, obviously if they are someone that, gets a lot of engagement, right, and they've had successful collaborations in the past, yes, there's an expectation there that, it should help, right? It should aid in driving sales, but to put that expectation and to put that number of like, oh, we need to be making X amount of sales from this, it's just not realistic. But again, a lot of companies don't understand this. And so you're seeing a lot of these companies just not value marketing and not valuing the marketing team. And you also see a lot of companies not having marketing teams at all. The days of having a marketing team are pretty much over. Like, and yes, obviously, there are going to be some companies out there that do have marketing teams, but for the most part, a lot of these companies are cutting corners when it comes to marketing. And you often see people in the field say that if you are expected to land a job in marketing right now, you literally have to do the job of 10 people, even though you're only getting paid the salary of one individual. And that's something that, you know, I've experienced. That's something that, you know, other people that I know in the field have experienced, where you're basically always overworked. No matter what you do, no matter where you work, you're always going to be overworked because the expectation is just extremely unrealistic. Because your typical social media manager is not just your social media manager anymore. They're also your video editor. They're also your social media strategist. They're also your content creator. They're also your blog writer. They're also your email marketer. They will literally put all of these different roles that should be separate into one, on top of the fact that it's a very measly low salary. You're lucky if it's even salary. A lot of social media manager roles now are contract, right? So there's not even a lot of stability there or benefits in the industry. It's overall very undervalued. As somebody that has worked several internships at this point, I've also come to realize as well that a lot of people are hiring their interns as social media managers, but then with no expectation to actually promote them into like a full-blown role. And you know, all of my social media experience up until this point, outside of what I did in college, has been through internships, and there's always been pushback on making me a full employee, even though I'm literally working as a full employee. I'm working 40 plus hours. And that's the other thing as well, is you're expected to work non-stop basically. And I understand social media never sleeps. I understand that there's always things happening. I understand that if, you know, there's a trend going on or there's something that needs to be posted, you know, past working hours or during the weekend, yes, there is an expectation to jump on it, even if it's not within your typical you know, working hours. Similar to journalists, right? Like journalists are always on the clock. There is an expectation there, but there's still very little to no work-life balance in marketing. You are expected to work around the clock from the time that you sleep, from the time that you wake up. I literally, again, in all of my internships, never really got a break. I always worked weekends. I always worked late nights. I cannot tell you guys the amount of times I literally had to work until midnight sometimes. And then at 1 a.m. I just gave up and I'm like, whatever, I'll just get chewed out for not finishing whatever it is that I needed to finish. Because in my most recent role that I had, I was doing a lot. My internship slowly but surely turned into a full-time position, just without the title and without the salary. And it was extremely frustrating because I kept being thrown more and more work, more and more responsibilities. But then when it came time, you know, to pay me, there was questions as to if I was working hard enough or if I was doing enough. There were questions as to what am I doing with my time. And that's also why I hate contracted work, and I hate that I've only ever had contracted work. I've never worked a salaried role ever. It's all been contract, it's all been hourly, and it's all been, you know, me tracking my hours and tracking what I do and then being questioned about it. Like, oh, did you really spend 2 hours doing this? Did you really spend an hour, you know, working on this? And it's like, yeah, because there's also this misconception about how long certain things take. And that also got very, very infuriating because, you know, say I spent, I don't know, 2 hours editing a video, like a reel, right? I literally would be told like, oh, why is it taking you 2 hours to do this? It should take you 30 minutes to do this. Like they have this unrealistic mindset and expectation when it comes to how long certain things should take. And it's like, if you are hiring me, right, the expert, the person that, not expert, but you know what I mean? Like I'm the one with the credentials. I'm the one with the experience. I know what I'm doing, what I'm talking about when it comes to marketing, and you don't have that background knowledge. So why are you telling me how long I should be spending doing something or how I should be doing stuff when I'm the one with the experience and I'm the one that's providing you with high quality? Nothing that I do is low quality. And I will say that with my whole chest, okay? Everything that I do, I put a lot of energy into and I put a lot of effort into. And I hate when that gets overlooked for, and again, it'd be one thing, right, if I was dragging my feet and I was spending 5 days on something that should have only taken me a couple of hours. Cool. Call me out on that. But that has literally never been the case. And, you know, again, just circling back, right, to my last marketing internship, right? I was doing everything under the sun by the time I decided to quit that job. You know, I was running the social media accounts. Mind you, this company had every single social media account that you could possibly think of. They had an Instagram, they had a Facebook, they had a Twitter, they had a Pinterest, they had a YouTube channel, they had a TikTok. And there was also this expectation to post every day, multiple times a day on all these platforms. So I was expected to post on TikTok 3 times a day. Yes, you heard that correctly. I was expected to post on TikTok 3 times a day, including weekends. I was expected to post on Instagram every single day, including including weekends. And at one point it was twice a day on Instagram, the morning and the afternoon. And then eventually it got decreased to just once a day. And I was doing all of that. And then of course YouTube, right? So I'm editing our long form content. I'm doing all of the SEO, right, as well for all of these platforms. I'm writing all the captions. I'm getting all the hashtags. I'm designing all the thumbnails. I'm literally doing all of this. And that, honestly, that's probably where my internship should have started and stopped. But then I got thrown blogging as well. So I was responsible for writing our blogs. We had 2 blogs a week. Granted, that particular aspect of it wasn't too much. But again, when you throw all of that on top of running all these social media accounts and also community management. So I also had to answer DMs. I had to answer comments. I had to repost stuff that was being posted. Like, you're literally like on the clock 24/7. So that in itself, like, I'm sure as you guys are hearing me speak, like y'all are like, oh, this is a full-time position. But it wasn't just that. I also had to create our ads as well. So I had to create static ads, video ads, and on top of writing all of our blogs, LinkedIn, can't forget LinkedIn. I also had to run our LinkedIn, where I was also posting articles on LinkedIn. And then on top of all of that, I was then given our influencer program. I had to run our entire influencer program with over 200 people by myself, and I was expected to communicate with these people. I was expected to run campaigns. I was expected to ship out products to influencers. One person managing 200 people. And again, these are positions that should be spread out, right? We should have had an influencer marketing manager. We should have had a blog writer or a content writer, copywriter. Like, these should have been different roles. But you find that with a lot of these marketing roles that are listed online, they literally require you to have all of these skills and to do all of these things. And then you look at the salary, and it's not anything more than 50, maybe 65 if you're lucky. And it's like, to have someone do the job of 10 people, to have them constantly be on the clock, for you to have this expectation that I'm supposed to be answering emails and messages past 5 o'clock and on the weekends, it's just that the math is not mathing. And so I'm sitting here, right, and I'm looking at the experience that I've had. And also, not to mention too, that I've, again, been mistreated at these jobs, right? And I haven't just worked, in marketing. I've also worked in PR, had a PR internship, and I've spoken about that in previous videos about how I was treated so bad at my PR internship. And it was a lot of the similar things, where not necessarily doing the work of 10 people, but I was expected to do my work, other people's work, and expected to work late nights and weekends to meet very unrealistic deadlines. And so it's like, I'm sitting here, right, and I'm taking in all of my experience. I'm looking at the experience of other people, and I think all in all, across the board, it can be concluded that the marketing field right now is not only very saturated, but it's extremely undervalued. A lot of us are being mistreated and overworked, and the pay is so little. The benefits are not there. Like, it's just overall bad right now. And I understand that everything has its ebbs and flows, and there's certain industries, right, where they may have a high period and a low period. But given the fact that this has been going on for the past 2 years and is literally only getting worse and worse, I've reached a point now where I'm like, okay, something has to give. And even just seeing how people view marketing, again, I don't think it's changing. I literally, was speaking to somebody that was looking for marketing services, and, I laid it all out, like what my experience was, the things that I could help them out with. And they literally told me, oh, never mind, I don't want to work with you anymore. I'm just going to have my website designer or my website manager run our social media account. And then it ended up being like one of their family members. And again, it's just like this lack of value for, marketers right now. It's just not there. And so I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, I've been living at home for 2 years now. I can't get a full-time job for anything. And, I've interviewed for full-time positions. I've interviewed for part-time positions, because I also considered, okay, maybe I have to just get 2 part-time jobs, right, to get to where I need to be financially. Couldn't even land one. Like, I've only been able to land internships, and I'm just at a point where I'm kind of tired. I'm fed up, and I've dealt with so much crap in this industry, and it's low-key been a little traumatizing, because there's also this other element as well, right, where people expect marketers to be a certain way and act a certain way. And I think that's the other part that's been tough for me, because I've come to realize that part of why I have experienced so much pushback and mistreatment in the workplace is because of my personality. And I've spoken about this again in previous videos where I talked about being an introvert in the workplace and how just in general it's very weird and odd how people treat you just because you don't want to go out with your coworkers or you don't want to talk about your weekend like that. Like people treat you very, very harshly. And I think a lot of companies have this idea of their ideal marketer and they imagine somebody that's very extroverted, that talks all the time, that demands the attention of the room. And something that was very frustrating for me that I started to realize in my previous internship, right, is although I always showed up, although there were moments where I did lead meetings and I did, present things, because I wasn't super energetic, I guess, or super extroverted, or because I didn't, again, go into detail about my weekend, whatever the case may be, I felt like people started to look down on me as a marketer because I didn't fit the typical image that I guess people think of. And I started to even question too of like, am I always gonna have the struggle of trying to get that full-time job in marketing because I don't fit what people want me to be? And that's something that I've had to sit with, the past couple of years, just across the board in my life, whether it's in friendships, past relationships, and now in the workplace. It's like people don't value me and people don't treat me well just because of who I am as a person. And again, it's not like I'm going into work with a stank attitude and not talking to people. I'm always the first person on every single work meeting call, and I always speak to everybody. I'm always the first person to speak in every single meeting that I've been in throughout, the course of my career. But because I'm not, always talking and I'm not always, having these big bright ideas, I feel like people have started to mistreat me because of it. And it's also caused them to look at me as like, oh, well, we only see you as an intern. We don't see you as this social media manager because you don't act the way that we want you to act. And, we'd rather go with the person that, talks more and, wants to do all these extra things. And it's just, that's the other part of it too, is like, as much as I love marketing, because don't get it twisted, I actually love marketing. That's why I chose it. Like, I remember when I was looking into switching majors when I was at Mason, I was looking through all the courses that I would have to take and like, all the potential electives that, I could take. And I remember having a really hard time picking my electives because they all seemed interesting to me. They all, caught my attention. And I truly enjoy many aspects of marketing. I love copywriting. I love graphic design. Graphic design is like, top tier for me. But I also love being able to, read analytics and, figure out what's going on. Like there's so many elements of marketing that I actually really, really enjoyed. And so I'm like, okay, no matter where I end up, no matter who I end up working for, I'm going to enjoy what I do. And I think there was a part of me as well that felt like, yes, there's a lot of people in marketing, but marketing is one of those careers where it's needed everywhere, right? Like marketing is literally needed in every single industry, from, a dental office to an animal shelter to a hair salon to a PR agency to, a grocery store. Like every single business needs marketing. And so I always thought the job security would be there because it's like, well, everybody needs marketing. Shoot, even as I'm looking around, right? Like this lotion company, they need marketing. Like I thought the opportunities would always be there because I'm like, well, everybody needs marketing. So there's no way that there wouldn't be jobs available. But here I am, and here are several other people who have marketing degrees struggling right now to find work. And, I'm just at a point where, sure, this may be temporary, but I don't have my entire life to wait for the industry to get better. And, people have told me, well, try marketing in different industries, right? Because there's also this assumption as well that when people go into marketing, they just stick with one industry, right? Whether it's banking, whether it's beauty, whether it's food, whatever the case may be, hospitality, like people typically specialize in a particular industry. So people have told me like, hey, why don't you try, doing different industries? But the thing is like I have, and I've also always been open to it. Like whenever I'm looking for jobs, I'm not looking for jobs in a particular industry. I'm just looking for jobs that, I can do. And I think there's been an assumption that people have made that like, oh, Bree must only be focusing on beauty or she's only focusing on food. No, I'm looking everywhere. Anybody that needs marketing experience, I will do it, right? And so, I've worked in the food and beverage industry. I've worked in the beauty and skincare industry. Like I've always been open to marketing anywhere, right? But that has also become an issue as well because a lot of companies, they want you to specialize in an industry. So although, there might be this, I'll use banking as an example because I've actually seen this happen where there'll be a position for a social media manager at a bank, but they'll put in their requirements like, oh, we're looking for people that specifically have 2 years of experience marketing for a bank. Like, they'll make it that specific. And yes, obviously, like, if you meet the other requirements, but just not that one, you still apply. And I have still applied to those positions, the ones that say like, hey, we prefer somebody that has experience in the specific industry. Even if I don't, I still will go after it, but I never get those interviews. I still don't get those interviews. And so I'm at a point now where I'm tired. I'm tired of being mistreated and judged. I'm tired of my worth as an employee being questioned. I'm tired of people not wanting to pay me as well. Like, every single internship I've had issues with getting paid. I've had issues with getting paid, or I've been questioned as to, like, what my hour sheet would look like. There's always been some pushback about paying me, even though I'm already being paid very little. Mind you, again, like, extremely low. Like, my very first internship that I had out of college, I was being paid, it started out as $15 an hour for 10 hours a week. And then they increased my salary to $25, but it was still at 10 hours a week. Then the next internship I had after that was the PR one. That was at $12 an hour. And then the one that I just left was $17. And so it's like, y'all are already paying me pennies, bro. And, there's been issues with that. And so now I'm like, okay, something has to give. And now I'm genuinely considering switching careers out of marketing altogether. And this is something that has been weighing very, very heavily on me. It's something that actually like angers me and upsets me and frustrates me because, again, as I talked about on this channel, like, I feel like all of my goals all of my dreams have just continued to blow up in my face. Like, everything that I wanted in life has just not come to light at all. And I've just been very, very frustrated. And I'm like, if I could just have one thing, bro, just one thing go my way. I understand, like, I'm not gonna have everything. I'm not gonna have it all. I'm not asking for it all. I'm just asking for one thing that I want. And so to now come to this realization of I literally might have to give up the career that I wanted, the career path that I wanted, like, and again, ultimately, like, I want to be like my own entrepreneur and do my own thing, like that's the life goal, like, in general. But I never thought that when it came to like my professional career that I would have to completely switch out, because again, going back to school and racking up more debt was not in my life plans at all, and it's not something that I actively want to do at this point. And so I probably won't be going back to school, but I am looking into doing like certification programs and doing other stuff to get certified in a whole different field. And right now I am in a program right now to basically switch into tech. I'm now looking into doing tech, and again, I know people are going to be like, well, tech is saturated too. It's a specific branch of tech that currently is not saturated. There are more job opportunities there are more higher paid roles in this particular field, and basically it's UX UI design. A friend of mine had brought that up as a potential career choice when I was thinking about switching out of marketing, and I looked into it and it seemed pretty interesting. And so I'm gonna go for it, and I'm gonna pursue it and see if maybe that's a better option for me, and hopefully it'll get me better opportunities. Because again, as much as I would love to just make money doing YouTube and my other stuff, money is still tight. It's still really tight, and my mental health is continuing to take a toll on me with me living at home. And there's just so many other things that I feel like are being restricted in my life from living at home, and I'm like, I can't keep living like this. That's basically where I'm at with it. Because I think the frustration too that I've had when I'm talking to people about this is, oh, you gotta be patient, you have to have patience. And I'm like, bro, how much patience do you expect me to have after 2 years of not landing something? And again, these are people that have had full-time jobs, multiple full-time jobs at that, telling me, oh, just be patient, just wait another year or two. No, like, and again, everybody's journey is different, and it's not I'm certainly not blaming anybody or shaming anybody. Rather, if they're in the same boat as me, or people who may be older than me who may be going through the same thing, it's not to shame anyone else. I'm just not comfortable with where I am in life, and sitting around and waiting for things to change. It doesn't sit well with me. me. And yes, there's an element of being patient, but there's also an element of like, hey, I've been doing the same things for X amount of years and nothing is changing. And literally the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results. And so I'm at a point where I'm like, I need to do something different. I need to have some type of progression towards what I want out of life. And for me, I'm like, okay, marketing is not getting any better. It's not working. The money isn't there. The jobs are not there. And so many marketers right now, you know, they are being mistreated. They are being overworked. They're being gaslit to make it seem like, you know, they don't know what they're doing or what they're talking about. And so I'm like, at this point, instead of me waiting around for things to get better and continuing to do the same things, I'm at a point now where I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should just switch careers. I'm at a point where I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should just throw my white flag up and just say, you know what? Y'all got it. I'm just gonna go ahead and look into getting into a different career. And again, you know, going back to school and racking up more debt is just not an option for me right now. I'm already struggling to figure out how I'm gonna pay off my current loans. I don't want to then add on to that, especially when I'm already struggling financially. And so, you know, I'm just looking into other options. But I'm not gonna lie, I am frustrated. I'm hurt that I've even had to come to this conclusion of switching careers, because this is not, I didn't want to do this. And I think that's also why too I've had people tell me like, oh, well, just be patient and just keep trying. But it gets to a point where it's like, okay, just keep trying and just keep waiting, but like for how long before it feels like I'm just doing the same thing and I'm not making any progress? Because I've also been told as well that like, oh, well, you know, remote work is overly saturated. Try applying to in-person roles. I have I've applied to in-person roles, hybrid, and again, I'm not the only person with the story. Many other people out there who are looking for marketing roles, they also have looked for, you know, in-person, remote, hybrid roles. It's still all the same thing. People are literally showing up to the office buildings of some of these companies to conduct interviews, and no one ever shows up to interview them. Like, people have literally been getting ghosted, not just through email, but even in person. I know somebody that literally got ghosted for an interview in person. Or better yet, they'll bring you to the office to have an in-person interview and then ghost you after that. Like, I've seen countless stories of that. So it's also not people are only applying to remote roles. No, like, it's bad. Like, and I don't know why people don't understand. Like, it's just bad right now. And again, I think it goes back to that whole thing of like, if you were just someone that got lucky and never had to struggle with finding work, I honestly think people like that, they just don't get it. They don't empathize, and they don't try to understand like, hey, everybody doesn't have the same luck. And maybe if all these people are saying the same thing, there's something to it. And it's not just, you know, because, you know, the resume is bad or all these other stuff that gets regurgitated over and over again. Like, oh, fix your resume, tailor your resume to the company, do this, do that. I literally had someone in my comment section a couple days ago saying like, oh, have you tried putting leadership roles on your resume? And again, I get the sentiment, but it's very outdated advice. Almost every person that I know that went to college has some type of leadership roles on their resume. It's not doing anything. Even having an internship nowadays isn't carrying as much weight as it once did. Like, it's bad out here. Because again, a lot of entry-level roles want you to have 5 to 10 years of experience right out of college. So yes, a lot of people are now having to start internships their freshman year of college just to get a chance. And it shouldn't have to be like that. And so, yeah, I just wanted to come on here and talk about, you know, that, because, you know, I've talked about my job hunting experience and continuing to be transparent about where I am and how I'm navigating that. I did want to share where I'm at with it. And I honestly think that as much as I don't want to, as much it pains me to do this, I think that I am going to have to fully transition out of marketing just so I can get a role that values me, that pays me well, to where I can finally move out and start living my life. You know, I can't just keep waiting around hoping and dreaming for an opportunity, because even when opportunities do come, they're internships. It's always an internship. And I'm sorry, I just feel like I'm too old to not have had a full-time job at this point. I'm about to be 25. To say that I'm 25 years old and I've never had a full-time job, like, again, I know everyone has their own paths and things happen for people at different times in their life, but I personally I don't feel good about saying that out loud. It doesn't make me feel good. It doesn't make me feel accomplished. I'm not comfortable with that. And so I feel like I have to make a change, but then it's complicated because, again, as I'm having these conversations with other people have been telling it, I don't know, it's weird. It's weird because before people were telling me, look into doing something else. Maybe you need to try something new, and maybe it'll be good to get, out of marketing. There are a few people that were telling me that, right? And so now I'm doing it, and those same people are telling me, oh, well, maybe you should be patient, don't give up on your dream, don't give up. And it's just like, or, oh, wait it out. This is only temporary. But temporary for how long? If it's gonna be like this for the next 5 years, I'm gonna be 30. And I can't be 30 with no job. Like, I don't know. It's all of this is just so frustrating. Adulting is frustrating, and I'm frustrated. And honestly, I might make another video about that as well, about how frustrated I've been. And I listen, I've made a lot of videos about that, okay? But it's just more so me coming to realize that I've had to let go a lot of my goals. I've had to let go of a lot of my dreams. Everything that, I wanted and how I wanted certain things to play out. I feel like I've had to come to the harsh reality that those things are just not going to happen in the way that I would like. And things like changing my career or changing where I wanted to move. Like, I've had this specific location that I wanted to move to since I graduated from college, and I'm coming to the realization that, like, if I truly am looking to move out soon and really like be out on my own, I might have to let go of where I wanted to move to. So just having to let go of all these things, the career that I wanted, the location that I wanted to move to, having a partner, like having to let go of all these things that I wanted so badly, it's just so infuriating. And I know that you have to do what you got to do, right? There's plenty of people out here that have to, shift things and change their plans and do things that they don't want to do. So I'm not saying I'm exempt. I'm not saying I'm the only one. I'm just expressing my frustration of me having to do that. Like, it's seemingly all across the board. Like, it's just like nothing is going according to plan. And, I've been seeing a lot of like, videos and things online of people talking about how, when things didn't work out the way that they wanted it to, they actually ended up getting something better. They got a better outcome. It was better than anything they could have ever imagined. And I don't feel like I'm getting that experience. I don't feel like, okay, I let this thing go, but then something better, came to be. Like, I just feel like I keep getting thrown bull crap and it's just getting worse. And I'm feeling very checked out and defeated. I don't feel as like optimistic and motivated anymore. Like, I just feel very checked out right now. I feel very checked out from life because I just feel like I'm not even allowed to have goals. And honestly, that in itself might be the next video that I film, about how I feel like I have just not been allowed to have goals and dreams for myself, because every single time I set a goal for myself, it just ends up blowing up in my face and the opposite ends up happening. And it's very infuriating. So again, I get it. Like, obviously it's the adult thing to do, that when you pick a career and it's not working out, you pivot into something else. I'm fully aware of that. I know there's people right now that are, working in a completely different industry than what they got their degree in. There's many stories of people who did that. So I know it's not an uncommon thing per se. Like, there's a lot of people out there who had to do it, but it doesn't make it any less frustrating that that's where I'm at with it. And it also doesn't help that I don't feel very supported in that, because now I feel like people have been making me feel like, oh, so you're just giving up, or I'm being impatient. And that's truly not it. It's just that I'm literally not making any progress to where I want to be. And I don't know, I'm just tired. And all of this has been confusing. Like, even coming to that realization, I'm like, is that the correct choice? Or should I try to continue to apply to all these jobs that aren't giving me a chance? Like, I don't know what the right decision is. And it just sucks that it seems like no matter where I go, I'm getting pushback regardless. So I guess the point of me coming on camera to talk about this is to see if, like, am I wrong for wanting to change careers? Like, am I wrong for wanting to say, okay, like, this hasn't been working? Like, it's basically like, is 2 years long enough to say, okay, this has not been working, let's try something else? Or is 2 years not that long, and should I still try and continue to make something shake? Like, I don't know. know, but 2 years for me in this house feels like a very long time. And I don't know if it is just that number of 25 that's just making me feel like, okay, I got to do something else. Like I can't like I can't do this anymore. Like I don't know if it's that. I don't know, but I just feel like something has to give, and I don't know what else to do other than to pivot careers. Because one thing I can say for sure is that I am like pretty checked out from marketing. Again, not because I don't enjoy it, but because my experience in the field has just been so bad, and seeing other people's stories and seeing how the industry right now is just like, again, really, really bad. I just don't know if it's worth still trying to do this, because like if the importance of what I do is going to be reduced to, oh well, my office assistant can do this, or oh, my little niece can run my social media account, like at this point I'm just over it. And again, I do enjoy other aspects of marketing, right? Like I love copywriting, I love, you know, other elements as well. But even in me trying to pursue other aspects of marketing and trying to apply to those roles, again, it's just a lot of the same things of like, it's not just that role. And then there's also the expectation of you have to have 5 years of experience doing that one specific thing, which I don't have, because like who does when you're entry level? So yeah, I don't know. I know I spoke about to, you know, the marketing company that I started with my friend. I think that's the extent of what my marketing journey will be. It's just the business that I built with my friend. I don't think that I could work in another marketing role for another company again, just seeing how bad it is right now. But yeah, so to anyone out there who is currently in the marketing industry, if you guys have any similar stories, you know, good or bad, right? You know, it doesn't just have to be, you know, bad stories. If you had a good experience, you know, working in marketing, you know, let me know in the comments. Maybe give me some hope. But, you know, if you could relate to anything that I said in regards to, again, low pay, no salary, no benefits, being mistreated, being overworked, if you have any of those similar experiences, I would like to, you know, discuss that in the comments down below. So feel free to share your thoughts on the topic. And, you know, as always, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you guys go ahead, give it a big thumbs up, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And I'll see you guys in the next video.